Welcome to Part 4 of the Darling Downs and Southwest RDA's Framework for Growing a Livable Region. In Part 4, we'll discuss the key issues of place within the region. A central part of any strategy to develop more livable regions is a detailed understanding of its character and form. The nature of places helps develop ways of thinking. We are all familiar with the regional paradigm that every family needs a farmer, but in the context of developing strategies for more livable and sustainable regions, it is useful to broaden this paradigm and suggest, and every farmer's family needs a town, and every town is sustained by families, as this is beginning to build a framework that more accurately expresses the nature of regional places. In fact, the structure is not one of city and bush, but more one of regional city, edge towns, and remote settlements, the real bush. This begins to give a structure to help us develop a sub-regional sustainability framework. Conceptually, the notion of regional city, edge town, and remote settlements begins to give us a framework to look at the scale and character of regional places. Within the settlement patterns of regions, the regional city and its fringe have particular urban centre issues. The fringing settlements, referred to as edge towns, particularly those within the 200-kilometre radius, provide the foundations for long-term regional livability. These communities are not urban and they're not remote. Their future is connected with the regional centre. Their proximity to the regional centre as discrete settlements provides significant social, economic and environmental resources to the long-term development of the region. It will be how we innovatively connect these communities into the broader regional framework that will determine the region's livability and clearly define its identity and lifestyle. This regional framework identifies the critical role of sub-regional communities in securing the long-term livability and prosperity of regions. The traditional focus on city centre and remote community issues reduces the ability to retain a region's lifestyle and identity for future generations. It is critically important that the long-term planning and development at the regional scales enables the establishment of an active and vital network of sub-regional communities. In many ways, sustainable edge towns provide the long-term security for regional cities and remote communities. The next step is to apply this at the regional development scale. The Darling Downs and Southwest RDA has a similar distribution of remote and sub-regional communities as the state of Queensland. Over half of its local government areas have a population of less than 5,000 people. Mapping of the region helps reveal its particular shape and settlement pattern. An overlay of the sustainability framework begins to identify key locations and opportunity centres, and begins to give us clues on the nature of sub-regional and remote communities. A more detailed application of the framework gives focus to the opportunities for enhancing regional livability. Settlement populations provide a useful indicator of existing resources and infrastructure, as well as the capacity for long-term prosperity. Regional lifestyle and identity hinges on the level of local services. The size of townships is a good indicator of the capacity to support long-term livability needs. Within the Darling Downs in Southwest region, Woomba City is the major regional centre. Its population is approximately 95,000 people. The second largest centre within the region is that of Warwick, of around 12,500. The third centre is Dalby, with slightly under 10,000 residents. There's a significant drop to the next level of centres below Warwick and Dalby. The next significant centre is Roma, with almost 6,000 people. This is followed by Highfields, a very similar number. Goondiwindi is the next largest centre of about 5,600. These three centres around the 6,000 mark create the next layer down. The next layer of centres range from 3,000 to 4,000 people, with Stanthorpe being the next largest centre, followed by Chinchilla, Oakey, Charleville and St George, with almost 2,500 people. When looking within regions and the centres, it's also important to understand the impacts of adjacent centres. In the Darling Downs and South West region, there are 3 significant adjacent centres. The largest northerly centre is that of Kingaroy, which is framed to the south by Tenterfield, and more centrally in the west, Moree. These 3 centres range from 7,000 to 8,000 people and play a significant role on the lifestyle and serviceability of regional communities within the Darling Downs and South West region. If we look to the sub-regional communities on the fringe of Toowoomba City, we notice there is a cluster of approximately 7 major centres. This begins to give us a clear idea on the development and investment strategies that would support a strong regional identity and livability. The overlay of the proposed national broadband network also consolidates the role of these centres. In summary, the Regional Sustainability Framework has clearly identified the sub-regional centres that will be crucial to the long-term social, economic and environmental sustainability of the region. Continue to Part 5 for a discussion on the key action initiatives.